Okay, so this was the paper 2 from the pre. So we're on question 1, and the first question was, sorry, before I go on, we're going to come across some writing in this one, okay? I didn't have a fully empty one, okay, but it's mostly empty. Yeah, so just be prepared for that, okay? Right, so question 1, and without even looking any further at this, just from kind of glimpsing at this question, we know it's going to be a very straightforward trapezoidal rule question, okay? So we go to our log tables, and we can really just keep skimming through it until we see the picture of the trapezoidal rule. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, there it is. So we're going to use that formula. We're going to use this formula here on this question. Okay, so maybe we'll just write out the formula. So it's going to be A is approximately equal to h over 2 into y1 plus yn plus 2 times y2 plus y3 plus y4 plus dot 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 and plus yn minus 1. Okay, so that's the formula we're going to use. So let's think about this. So our area for us is approximately equal to h over 2, and h for us is the distance in between each ordinate, so it's going to be 3 over 2 into y1 is the height of the first ordinate, which is 10, plus yn, which is the height of the last ordinate, which is 5, plus 2 times all the sum of all the other ordinates, so it's 15, plus 12.5, plus 18, plus 15, plus 8. So we can bash it into our calculator, and we get out 3 over 2 into 10 plus 5 plus 2 times 15 plus 12.5 plus 18 plus 15 plus 8, and that's equal to 228. So that's our answer to the first question there. Okay, 228 is the answer. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's take a look now at question. Oh, we're still on question 1. Sorry. So let's keep going here. A bag of grass seeds covers 20 meters squared. How many bags of seed will John need to sow the lawn? Okay, so it's 228. So it's 228. And if a bag of grass seed covers 20 meters squared, so it covers 20 meters squared. So we divide that by 20 to find out how many bags of seeds we need. And we need 228 divided by 20, which is equal to, so we need 11.4 bags. But obviously if we went into a DIY store and asked for 11.4 bags, they wouldn't give us 11.4 bags, they'd give us 12 bags. So we need 12. A bag of seed costs 25 euro. John must also use 3 bags of fertilizer costing that amount per bag. If he charges 750 for labour, okay. Right, so it's 25 euro per bag and he needs 12 bags. So it's 12 by 25 plus 3 by 29.99. So that's the grass seed, that's the fertilizer. He also is going to charge 750 for labour, plus VAT of 23% on the total bill. So we need to work out the total bill first of all. So it's going to be 12 multiplied by 25 plus 3 multiplied by 29.99 plus 750 equals 1139.97, and we have to find 123% of that. So it's 1139.97 times 123%. So we go multiply that by 123%, and percent is up here, equals 1402. So that's going to equal 1402 euro. So that's how much John should be charging. Okay, that's question 1 dealt with. Okay, on to question 2. So this student has answered some of the question here, so we're going to have to just ignore that. A game consists of spinning the 2 wheels as shown and recording the result of the spins. Now, the first wheel is broken into 4 equal segments and the second wheel is broken into 3 equal segments. Okay, so let's just check this student's work. So the student can, or this person can get an A, and he can get a 1. He can get an A and a 2, an A and a 3, and an A and a 4. Good. He can get a B. He lands on a B, and he can get a B and a 1, a B and a 2, a B. Yeah, perfect. So that student seems to know what he's doing there, so they got full marks for that. Okay, perfect. What is the probability that the outcome is B4? So this one here, how many B's and 4's are in this table? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 of them, and only one of them is the one we want, which is 1/12, 1 out of 12. So that student got full marks for that as well. Good man. What is the probability that the outcome contains an odd number and the letter B? So an odd number, so let's maybe put these into triangles. So that contains an odd number, 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 that contains an odd number and the letter B. So it's just this guy here and this guy here, because that word and, it has to be a B and an odd, so it's going to be 2 out of 12, which is the student got correct there. Okay, good. So that's how we tackle question 2. Is there more to it? Oh, there was, yeah. Okay, so question 2, part C. The game offers the following payout. Okay, so any letter with a number 1, you get 0. Any number with a letter 2, you get 1. Any number with a letter 3, you get 2. Any letter with a number 4, you get 10. Right, calculate the expected value of the game. Okay, so I might just see if I have another paper 2 and I can take a look at the grid then. So we might use this paper here, and we can use the grid on this page over here. So we're going to use this grid to answer this question over here. It's the same question, it's just we can look at both things now, okay? Any letter with a number 1, okay? So 1/4 of the times we play it, we would expect to get back €0. 1/4 of the times we play it, we'd expect to get back €1. 1/4 of the times we would expect to get back €2, and 1/4 of the times we would expect to get back €10. So that's going to be 25, 50, 75, 75 and 250 is, what's that, 325 or something? Probably do it on we should probably do that on a calculator. So it's 0.25 multiplied by 13, is it? Yeah, 3.25. Good. So that's the answer to that question there. Okay. Yeah. So it's just, we imagine it being played one time, and 1/4 of that time we would get back €0. 1/4 of that time we would get back 25 cents. 1/4 of the time we would get back 50 cents, and 1/4 of that time we get back 250. Okay. If the game costs €4 to play, is it good value for a person to play? Explain your answer. So it's not good value because this is less than this. Okay, sorry. So this is less than this, so it's not good value to play. Right, on to question 3. Who has the least worked on question 3? Let's check this student's work here for question 3. In a woodland, the number of breeding pairs of thrushes and the mean number of young raised per breeding pair was recorded for 10 consecutive years. Okay, so that's the year, that's the number of breeding pairs, that's the mean number of young. Okay, so there were 45 breeding pairs in year 1, and that year they each kind of averaged out that they were having six pairs of young. Okay, so display that on a scatter graph. So what the student should have done was put the let's say the number of breeding pairs on this axis down here. So maybe go from, let's say, 40 all the way up to, let's say, 65. Let's say 70. So we're then going to see in this point in the middle here, that's going to be halfway between 40 and 70, so that's 55, is it? So that's 55, and then we can kind of break it up then. Maybe we could say that that's going to be 40, 55, that's going to be into threes. So that's going to be 45, no, that won't work. 40, what have I done wrong there? Into 3, sorry, so we only want 2 divisions, so it's going to be 45, and that's going to be 50, and that's going to be 60, and that's going to be 65 up there, somewhere like that, okay? And then on this one up here, we're going to put in the average number of young. So we're going to go from 0 all the way up to, let's say, 7 or something up here. Let's say 8. So that way the middle one here is going to be 4. That's going to be 6. That's going to be 2. Okay. And then maybe if I try to get a different color pen. Okay, so we will then plot this information here as 45.6. So 45.6 is about there somewhere. And 46.7, 46.7 is about there somewhere. 60, 5.5, 60, and then 5.5 is about there, let's say. 63 and a 2. 63 and a 2 is about there somewhere. So now this looks very messy, okay, but this is, okay, so a scatter plot, guys, is just loads and loads of dots, okay? So 40 and 4.6, so 40 and 4.6 is about there somewhere. 43 and 6, 43 and 6, about there, let's say. 64, let's say it's about there. 64 and a 5, so he's about there somewhere. And 56 and a 6, 55, 56 and a 6, he's about there. And a 50 and a 5, a 50 and a 5 is about there. Okay, so what we begin to see is that as the number of breeding pairs increase, okay, the number of young that each breeding pair produces looks like it's tending to go downhill. So it looks like we're going in this direction down here. Yeah, it looks like we're going downhill, yeah. As we increase the number of breeding pairs, each breeding pair produces less and less. Less and less offspring. So that's, yeah, so there is some sort of a correlation going on here. So that's probably the next question it is, in fact. Choose the value which best describes the correlation of the scatter graph. So a scatter graph, guys, is when we've loads and loads of dots around our page, and if we see kind of them really forming a line, well then it's going to be quite a strong correlation. So I would maybe put it with this one over here, that I can definitely see a trend going down, okay? So it's going downhill, which means it's going to be negative, so I would select that one there. Okay. Yeah, if they were really in a line, it would be 1, but because we can kind of, yeah, we can kind of see that there is a kind of a case there. This one here, I don't know what he's doing over there, but anyway. Okay, so that's question, that's question 3 dealt with. Okay, so on to question 4. Let's take a look at how the student did again. A was 3 minus 3. So we have 3 minus 3 down here for A, so we would have got full marks for that. B is 11, 6, so we go over to 11 minus 6. 11 minus 6, so he's down there, and that's B, very good. C is this point over here, very good, so full marks for that. And yeah, good. Plot the points A, B, C on the Cartesian line, good. Okay, find the area of the triangle ABC. So we have our points, what is it, 3, comma, minus 3. And we have the point 10, comma, 3. And we have the point 11, comma, minus 6. Now, the formula we want to use is on page 18, I think. We really want to use this formula down here, okay? Area of a triangle. But we're not allowed to use that unless we have one of our points at the origin, OPQ. So one of the points has to be at the origin. So we're going to have to shift one of these points here to make it go onto the origin. And to do that, we kind of do this sort of a thing. Here we go 0, 0. So we've now moved this point onto the origin. Now what did we do to this point to get it onto the origin? Well, we reduced the x by 3 each time. So that must be a 7 and that must be an 8. Okay. What did we do to this minus 3 to turn that into a 0? Well, we increased it by 3. So that 3 there gets turned into a 6. And that minus 6 there, that gets turned into a minus 3. Make sense? So that's how we tackle that question there, okay? That's how we make a start at it. So we've done a translation. We've basically pulled this triangle here. We've pulled them down, so we've pushed them this way. So one of this point here, we pushed him onto the origin. Okay. Let's take so we still haven't answered the question yet, but we can now use our 2 questions here. We can call that x1, y1, x2, y2. So we can go a half times 7 by minus 3 minus 8 by 6. And we can put that into our calculator. So we can use the absolute value on our calculator. So we can go 1 over 2 and then absolute. And then we can go bracket 7, bracket minus 3 minus bracket 8, bracket 6 equals SD, so 34.5. So the area of this triangle here, well, the area really of this triangle over here somewhere is 34.5, but it's the same area as this triangle here, because we didn't kind of shift the triangle in any weird way. We kind of picked it up and dropped it back down here. So that's that. ABCD forms a parallelogram. Find the coordinates of the point D. Okay, so when we connect this point onto this point onto this point and onto some other point over here, okay, it'll form a parallelogram. So we can go kind of like there. And the student here, I think, chose 2, 6. Yeah, he was right, I think, but 2, 6. Well, good man for that. Full marks for that, okay? The line P has equation, that thing there, write down the slope of the line P. Okay, so slope of the line P, right. So the way we're going to tackle it is we have to get y by itself. We want to write it in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So we need to get y by itself first of all. So we write down 4y will equal 12 minus 3x. So I got rid of adding 3x on this side. I'm taking 12 on this side by bringing them over. So y is equal to 12 minus 3x all over 4. So y is equal to 3 minus 3/4 x. So we can now have it in that format there. So that guy there is the slope. The number on front of the x is the slope. So our slope of our line is minus 3/4. Okay. The line Q is perpendicular to P and passes through the point that. Find the equation of the line. Okay. So now how to tackle this? Again, we definitely use the formula y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. And we go something like this, y minus bracket minus 1 is equal to, now it's perpendicular to this line up here, and the slope of this line was minus 3/4, so the slope of the line we want is going to be 4/3. Okay, you flip it and change the sign, so it's going to be x minus 2. Now we're asked to find the equation, so we have to write this out in the standard form, so we're going to have to do our spinning next, so we're going to go for 3y. Now minus 1, that's the same as plus 1, so 3 times plus 1 is just 3, is equal to 4x minus 8. So 4x minus 3y minus 8 minus 3 is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 4x minus 3y minus 11. And that is the equation of that line. Okay, that's question 4 dealt with. Then on to the circle question. Let's see what this student did for the circle question. Yeah, empty. So we'll use this student's question 5 because we have an empty one here, okay? Sorry, I'm really not used to kind of this setup. Yeah, I think you can read that. The circle C has center 0 and radius 5. Write down the equation of the circle C. Okay, so we go to our log tables again and we look up equation of a circle, which is this one here. And so we go x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 5 squared. So we have x squared plus y squared equals 25. And that should be full marks for that. The line L, this line here intersects the circle at the points A and B. Find the coordinates of the points A and B. Right, so we have our circle equation, x squared plus y squared equals 25. And we have this new equation, x plus 3y is equal to 5. And we want an x and a y that satisfies both of these equations. We're looking for a point that's on both of those things. So we have two equations, two letters. What's that looking like? Yeah, so that's simultaneous equations. Okay, so it's simultaneous equations. So therefore, we have to ask ourselves, is it the easy type or is it difficult type? Because they're squares, it's the difficult type. So we have to isolate and substitute. Okay, so we're going to get x by itself, so we get x is equal to 5, take away 3y. Now, therefore that x there, that's equal to 5 minus, so we have 5 minus 3y squared plus y squared equals 25. And when I square that out, I go 5 minus 3y by 5 minus 3y. If by any chance you're from another class, your teacher might have another way of teaching how to square that out. We kind of take our time with it in my class. So it's 25 minus 15y minus 15y plus 9y squared plus y squared is equal to 25. So we now have 10y squared minus 30y plus 25 is equal to 25. So that's now 10y squared minus 30y. And then this is a quadratic, so it needs to be written in the standard quadratic form, with this thing over here should equal 0. So we have plus 25 minus 25. So we're going to have 10y squared minus 30y plus 0 is equal to 0. And that's a quadratic equation, so I can put that into my quadratic formula. So I go minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Again, there's probably a nicer way of doing that, but this system will definitely work for us. So we have minus 30, bba, so that's a 10, c which is a 0, and a which is a 10. So y will equal that, so I can put that into my calculator. So I can then go on fraction. So it's minus bracket minus 30 plus the square root of minus 30 squared minus 4 times 10 times 0 all over 2 times 10, which is equal to 3. So y will equal 3, or y will equal, and I have to scroll back into it. I get out a minus, y is equal to 0. So there are my two options. Yeah, two options, quite nice there. Next job is to do what? I need to find out what x is. So I always have a formula for x whenever I use the isolate and substitute system. So I know that x is equal to 5 minus 3 times 3, or x is equal to 5 minus 3 times 0. So that's going to be minus 9, so x is equal to minus 4, or x is equal to 5. So the options are 0, 5, or, sorry, that's an x is 5, so it's going to be 5, 0, or minus 4, 3. So there are two options. Okay, let's head over to part C over here. So we're going to plot this point, minus 4, 3, which is up. Right, so on to the last question in section A on paper 2. Find the measure of the angles in the diagram. Right, so, okay, it should be handy enough to do, I think. We know that in here, in this region in here, there's going to be 180 degrees. So we have 180 minus 129, which is equal to 51. So this thing here that looks like an A, that's going to be 51 degrees, and the reason is 180 degrees in a line. That should get you full marks for that. Now, if that is then 51, we should be able to work out this thing here. So 51 plus 45 is equal to 96. Sorry, so 96, so 180 minus answer equals 84. So there's 84 degrees up there. And if there's 180 degrees in this full semicircle up here, and there's 84 in there, well, that must be 96 up there. So 96 is beta, and the reason is CDB, that angle, is equal to 84 degrees because 180 in triangle, and this implies then that EDC, that angle, must equal 96 because 180 degrees in line. So that's, yeah, kind of weird. So these are all pre-questions, so they won't be the same as the actual Leaving Cert questions, okay? Like the Leaving Cert questions, they tend to be kind of straightforward. They tend to be less ambiguous about give a reason why, you know. They tend to be kind of very do the sum, particularly for the section A's. Okay, question 6 part B. In the diagram, O is the centre of the circle with radius length 6 centimeters. A and B are 2 points on the circle as shown where AOB is equal to 70 degrees. Find the area of the sector OAB. OAB. So just maybe if we talk about what the sector is, first of all. The sector is, if I was on my iPad now it would be great, but I'm not. The sector is all this shaded area in there, okay? That's what's meant by sector. So we have to find that area, okay? And the approach that we're going to use is we're going to find the area of the full circle, and then we'll work out what fraction that full circle we have. So the area of the full circle is going to be pi by 6 squared. So it's going to be 36 pi. And that's the area of the full circle. Circle. And I should say that's the area enclosed by this full circle. Yeah, I keep doing that, okay? So it's the area enclosed by that full circle. So that gives us the area of that full, the full area enclosed by that circle. We only want a partial of that. So it's going to be 70 over 360. It's going to be a partial part. It's going to be a part of that full, full disk, I suppose is the correct term, times 36 pi. So it's that fraction of the full disk, which is equal to 70 divided by 3060 equals multiplied by 36 shift pi equals 77 pi. 7 pi, and we want to correct it to decimal places, so we go SD, and it's 21.99. 21.99, correct the 2 decimal places. Yeah. Okay, so we would go to the third one, and if that was bigger than 5 or bigger, we would round up, but it's not, so we leave it alone like that. And maybe we should put in, because that was centimeters, this is going to be centimeters squared. Okay, next job. Hence or otherwise find the area of the shaded region, correct the 2 decimal places. Right, so we now know that this kind of pencil-y area up here, that's equal to 21.99. We're looking now for this red area. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to subtract the area of this blue triangle. I'm going to subtract the area of that blue triangle from my sector. So I need to work out the area of that blue triangle. So that's kind of that's a job for trigonometry. So we have a triangle with this area here, and that's 70, that's 6, and that's also 6. Sorry. So we have an angle, we have a triangle there with 70 there, 6 and 6. Okay, so we have to work out the area of that triangle. I can go into my formula tables, and let's take a look at in trigonometry, see what we have, because there's a formula for the area of a triangle in the trigonometry section. So let's go to page 17, I think, is it? Page 16. There we go. And we see we have a formula here, which is a half AB sine C. See that? So it's a half AB sine C for area. So area is a half of the 2 sides enclosing C. So it's a half of 6 times 6 times the sine of 70. And if we bash it into our calculator, we will get the area of the triangle. So it's 1 over 2 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 6 multiplied by sine of 70. And that's going to equal 13.93. I was expecting a bigger area than that. Anyway, that's what the calculator says. So that's the blue area from my diagram up here. So I'm going to take 21.99. I'm going to take 13.93 away from that. So it's 21.99 minus answer equals 8.06. So there's 8.06 centimeters squared up here, and there's 13.93 centimeters squared down there, and together they make up 21.99 centimeters squared. I think that's the entire of question C, was it? Yeah. Sorry, I think that's the entire question 6. So that's the entire question 6 answered. Okay.